Corey and I wanted to take a minute to have a chat about something that is a cornerstone of our work at the Sexual Health Center, and such an important topic in sexual health, and that is, of course, healthy relationships. And yeah, so I just wanted to hear from Corey about what she thinks is some of the important elements about healthy relationships, and how she implements that into her own life. Yeah, welcome, Corey.
Thank you so much, Renee. And I'm so excited to talk about this too, because aside from who I am professionally and stuff like that, on a personal level, I'm really excited about getting married this summer. And so I have a pretty wonderful partner,
Congratulations.
and we've decided to make a commitment to ourselves, to one another. Thank you. And I'm really looking forward to it this August. And so it has me reflecting a lot on, well, what is a healthy relationship? Why is it that I'm so ready to make this commitment to spend the rest of my life with somebody? And so it got me thinking a little bit about it. And then all of a sudden, bam, it came up on the topic list. So I was super giddy. And some of the things that I know I was reflecting on were things like mutual respect. And, for me, it's really important for my partner to know who I am as a person. There's a lot of things about me. I've had a really complex history in the past. I've had lots of ups and downs in life. And it's really important for them to know who I am and what I value and what I want in life, and for them to respect that. And if I set up boundaries, or if I ask for space, or I communicate some of my own needs, that they're going to listen to me. And that's one of the things that I've noticed about my partner that makes me so ready to make this commitment, is that we have that mutual respect. It's not just him showing it to me, but I make an effort to show it to him.
I think
Mm.
that's wonderful. I really, I really like that you bring up the topic of boundaries, because I think that boundaries and setting boundaries is so important, and I don't think that it's something that we talk about or address a lot, like even within ourselves. And I was watching a fantastic TED talk, and I'll leave the link to this when we post this video in the comment section, around setting boundaries, and how such a big part of setting boundaries is knowing who you are, and taking care of yourself. Because I remember that somebody said to me a really long time ago, you can't really be in a healthy relationship with another person unless you can be in a healthy relationship with yourself, and setting those boundaries, because your life really is what you say yes, and what you say no to, right? So I was wondering if you could share some of your thoughts on that.
I think boundaries are so important, Renee, because a lot of people think that they box us in, or they put walls up between people, and we shouldn't have a whole bunch of boundaries and barriers. But the reality is, boundaries can actually set you free. It's like a set of rules, or a framework that we can all work within. And you know what you're going to accept, and you know what you're not going to accept. It helps keep you safe. It helps make sure that you engage with friendships and relationships that are going to be healthy for both you and the other person. So it's not just about your own boundaries, it's about recognizing that other people have boundaries too, and being respectful of those also.
Absolutely, and I think that really good, strong self-esteem can help to come into play with that a lot. Something that I hear from our students, because as you know, well, when there's no COVID restrictions, when we're active in the schools, and I receive questions from junior high school students, a lot of the questions around healthy relationships are actually about jealousy, and knowing the boundary as to when, well, they're jealous of me, so does that not show that they care, right? And I think that it's not always easy, is it, Corey, like to kind of see what those red flags are. Sometimes you might be questioning whether or not, am I in a healthy relationship, am I not?
Mhm. And I think this is where trust and jealousy kind of go hand in hand, right, Renee? Because Jealousy is a normal feeling. It's normal and it's natural for us to feel jealous from time to time. It's the way we act on it that matters, or the way that we don't act on it. So if we have a partner, we're supposed to trust them, and we're hoping that they are going to trust us as well, because we're not out there to hurt them, and we're hoping that they're not out there to hurt us either, right? We're a partnership, which means we're both in this together. So in theory, we should be able to trust somebody and overcome that jealousy just by thinking through it, right? By rationalizing it out and working it out. And it may be difficult because we feel things when we feel jealousy. It might make us feel anxious, and that is a normal, natural emotion. But being in a healthy relationship means overcoming that and providing trust.
Absolutely. I
I'm very lucky. I gotta say, I'm so lucky on the trust factor because with my job before I started teaching, I used to be out at all hours of the night. My job had me on call, and I would get phone calls with emergencies at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and I would be darting out or I'd be gone overnight. And so again, some people might be really jealous. They might be very insecure and they might be very self-conscious. But having a strong self-esteem and being confident in yourself, being able to rationalize out these thoughts, my partner was okay to trust me to be where I said I was and to come and go. So he didn't try to control or manipulate my job or my hours or what I needed to do. And that was another red flag that I'm happy I didn't see. Partners aren't supposed to be controlling.
Absolutely. And you remind me of such a really important point as well. Is like the relationships I read earlier in one of our resource books that reminded me how much relationships are a verb, right? So relationships are a verb. Relationships really are action, and relationships do take a lot of work, but they shouldn't take so much work that you feel that you're trapped, or that things are getting unbearable, or that it is really stressing you out, right? I think that it's about compromising, but compromising where it's an equal give and take, and it's not just all one person, right, that feels that they're the one that has to compromise all the time.
Absolutely. Well, compromise is such a big thing too. Like, just to take a moment to focus on that. I am a very, very different person than my partner. There's a lot of things we have in common, a lot of different values and beliefs that we share. We have similar goals, and that's one of the reasons why I know we're compatible, right? I know who he is, he knows who I am, and we have those plans. But there's also a lot of things that make us really, really different. I am a super high energy, get up and go, got to do a million things all the time kind of person. He's more relaxed and chill. I like to go out to social events. He likes to relax at home or play a computer game or listen to some music. There's a lot of things that make us really, really different. And one thing that I love personally is the fact that we have give and take. We make compromise. He'll go out to dinner with me or go out to hang out with my friends. And you know what? I'll take some time to relax and watch some TV and play a video game with him. And it helps to balance us. It makes us feel good because we're really different people,
Mhm.
right? So there's got to be some compromise or we're going to be unhappy.
Absolutely. And I think that such an important part of that too is communication, right? So communication is so important. And I know in my experience as a sexual health educator, even when we're talking about intimacy and sex, the best sex, and research continues to show, is based in strong communication. But speaking of that, I think it's important to note that when we're talking about healthy relationships, and you pointed this out to me earlier, Corey, is that when we're talking about healthy relationships, we're not just talking about intimate relationships. We're also talking about friendships, right? We're also talking about relationships in our everyday lives, right?
That's the thing is we hold all kinds of relationships with all sorts of different people, with peers, with people who are senior to us, with friends, with colleagues when we start going to work. And there's so many different kinds of relationships we hold. And a lot of people we do get pretty close to. And whether it's a professional relationship at work, whether it's a friendship at school, or whether it is your intimate partner, you really want that relationship to have all these things, right? Honesty, communication, fairness, a little bit of an understanding and respect towards one another, right?
Absolutely. We have this really great activity, and it's actually one of the most popular activities. And I hope to do it and bring it online somehow in the weeks to come. And it's called the Affection Ladder. And basically, the Affection Ladder, and it has little stop signs on it. We give out the cards to the students, and the students go through the cards, and they have all different kinds of relationships that they may have in their life, right? Themselves and their classmates, a boyfriend or a girlfriend, and what would their boundaries be for those different relationships. So it's a great opportunity for us to talk with the students about how there are all these different types of relationships in their life, just like you said, and you might not have, and you don't have the same boundaries for all of your relationships, right?
Oh,
So it's all we're always setting boundaries and resetting boundaries. So
oh,
Corey, let's say that you have found that let's say that somebody who's watching this might not be in a healthy relationship. What do you think are some good strategies and some good suggestions for them? Maybe they're questioning it, or maybe they're looking for some more answers.
well, I think one of the very first things I want to say is that if you're starting to question it because you recognize you're not safe, somebody's very much controlling you, they're pushing your boundaries, they're making you uncomfortable. There are so many different kinds of boundaries: personal space, your social boundaries with your friends, your sexual boundaries, and what you'll allow. So if they're putting you in a place where you are not safe, then that's something that might I really think you need some support with. It's hard to face really challenging things like that alone. Having a friend that you can talk to, making sure that you have a safe place that you can go, maybe talking with parents, or even dropping by the sexual health center and connecting with some people there, either digitally and remotely if we're
Yeah.
during COVID times, or into the center when it's open again. But really seeking supports, because you're not alone. You're not the only person who has been in an unhealthy or an unsafe relationship. If it's one of those things that you're seeing just a couple of little flags that are pushing your boundaries a little bit, but it's not making you unsafe, it's not really affecting you to that degree, and it's a person you care a lot about, then I encourage you to think about what you can do with communication. Not everybody's aware of what boundaries are. So why not have a conversation about it? And it doesn't have to be mean. It doesn't have to be nasty. In fact, it can be a pretty cool and laid back one. You can relax with your friends, you can hang out, and you can talk to them about some changes that you want to make because you think it's going to be good for you. And you can talk to them and model what it is to set boundaries. And then hopefully these people will respect them. And if people aren't respecting your boundaries and you've tried to communicate with them, then maybe this isn't really a friendship or a relationship that you want to engage with.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we're going to leave some links and some resources with this video as well, because just like what you said, like getting some resources and support is so important. And I think that it's also important to for friends as well, because I've also received many questions from students in the past who their friend is the one that's in the unhealthy relationship, and I always remind them to be patient and to always let their friend know that they are there to support them and to help them. And so even if this information might not apply specifically or directly to you, you might find it helpful to help somebody else in your life. So thanks for that, Corey. I think that's really good advice.
On that note too, an emotional boundary that we can all work on ourselves too is remembering that if we are the one in that relationship, we aren't here to blame ourselves. Just because somebody else is being unhealthy or toxic towards us, they're being mean, they're pushing our boundaries, it doesn't mean that it's our fault. There's no blame in these type of things. And the same thing for the friend or the ally that's supporting. It can be hard when you're patiently waiting for things to improve and you want things to get better for your friend, but if they don't, it's not your fault either. And so having those nice mental barriers and remembering that you are responsible for what you're responsible for, and you're responsible for your feelings and your communication and your behaviors. And I think that helps a lot too. the other exciting part about relationships and weddings are the jewels and the baubles you get to get. So on maybe a fun little light note is, when your relationship is healthy, it might sparkle as much as my new wedding headpiece.
And do you ever wear it well? I love
Well,
it. I
I
love
know
it.
I'm just tempted to leave it on maybe for the rest of the day.
Well,
I'll
maybe
just
you
see how
should. Maybe you should. Remember that yeah, that Friends episode. I always related to the Friends episode where they go and get the wedding dresses and they just hang out wearing the wedding dresses around the house. I think that's what I'll do later when I do the dishes. I'll just wear something fancy. So absolutely.
sometimes
I think
it
you
makes
should
me
wear that.
feel good.
And that is awesome and that is important.
Thank you. Well, it was so great to chat with you today, Renee, and I look forward to chatting with you more too. It's so nice to connect on Zoom. I know we can't get together face to face. I miss you, by the way, virtual hugs.
Virtual
Um,
hugs.
but it's so nice to see you and still get to spend the time. So nice to see your face.
Thank you. You too. And you're going to come back, I hope, because we have a lot more stuff to talk about, and I'd love to get your take on many, many more topics.
Good luck keeping me away.
Thank you, Corey.
You take care, Renee.
You
It was a
too.
great pleasure.
You too.